Good evening. Welcome to Southern California Edison's Wildfire Safety Community live stream meeting for Chatsworth. My name is Dave Ford, and I am the Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison. We greatly appreciate that you took time to participate this evening, as well as submitting your questions when you registered for the meeting. We'd also like to thank Supervisor Catherine Barger and her staff, Barger, for joining us tonight. We appreciate that you always have had open lines of communication, and we look forward to our ongoing partnership. Let me start by saying that we recognize how important it is for you and your families to have electricity, especially during a pandemic when many of you are working and learning from home. Our company is focused on safely providing reliable service to our customers and communities. Our number one priority remains public safety. As California prepares for the upcoming wildfire season, we want to provide you with the latest information on how we are preparing and what you can do to be prepared. During the most recent wildfire season, we implemented Public Safety Power Shutoff, or PSPS, to reduce the threat of wildfires. We know many of you experience multiple PSPS events. We know that these outages are painful, and we heard your concerns. We are committed to reducing the need of PSPS, and we will be sharing more information during our presentation. Please note, if you get disconnected or you need to drop off early, this meeting is being recorded and it will be posted on our website at www.scE.com/wildfire. Next slide, please. As always, our feedback is extremely important. Your feedback is extremely important to us, and we encourage you to submit questions. Because we have a large number of attendees, we will be taking questions through the Q&A window. Should you be able to see the window on your right side? So that's the right side of your screen. If you're looking at it, you'll see the Q&A window. If there are similar questions already being asked that you would like answered, you can click on the heart icon next to the question to the like it. We will address the questions you receive, and the most likes first will and go down from there as we see these questions being submitted. We ask that you please ask questions that are relevant to the topic and the material being presented. We will do our very best to answer as many questions as possible in the allotted time. Next slide, please. I am joined tonight by the following presenters. We have Greg Puri, who is Vice President of Distribution, who will share our wildfire mitigation and PSPS action plans. Robert Tucker, who is a Principal Manager in Transportation and Transmission and Distribution, who will share our efforts to reduce the need of PSPS. Mike Bushy is also a director in our customer service, who will share information on our customer care and community engagement efforts. Next slide, please. Tonight, we plan to cover the following topics on our agenda: the 2020 wildfire season, SC's wildfire mitigation plan, public safety power shutoff, reducing the need for PSPS, our customer care programs, engaging our communities, and other resources that SCE provides, and then we'll go into our Q&A. We hope that information presented will address many of your questions. Following our presentation, we will then open it up for the Q&A, and that time your answers that you submitted will respond to those in the Q&A window. The next slide, please. A wildfire can happen at any time. So it is important to be prepared. Here are some steps to remember from our partners at LA County Fire Department. You want to get ready by creating and maintaining a defensible space, as well as taking measures to harden your home to increase your home's chances of surviving a fire. To get set, you can help your family be prepared for an emergency situation with a safety preparedness plan, some basic supplies, and advanced planning. Pack a go bag for when you have to leave home in a hurry. It should include copies of important papers, photos of your family, pets, small bills, list of medications and emergency contacts, and supplies like flashlights, a portable radio, and a first aid kit. For go, you need to take action immediately when a wildfire strikes. You want to go early to avoid being caught in the fire, smoke, or road congestion. Don't wait to be told by authorities to leave. It is also helpful to get alerts to know what to do. LA County has Alert LA County that you can go and sign up for your city. Also may have alerting systems. LA County Fire Department has more detailed guides on these steps at your website at lacounty.gov/RSG. Now I will turn it over to Greg.
Thank you, Dave, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us for tonight's session. We have a lot of information to cover, and we look forward to your questions. Our conversation today is about wildfire safety overall, and will include improvements we're making to our PSPS program. 2020 was a terrible year for many Californians. Across the state, 2020 was the worst year on record, with nearly 10,000 fires that burned over 4.2 million acres, consuming about 4% of the land in the state. And here in Southern California, from last summer to the end of the year, we experienced record dry fuel levels from heat waves and a lack of precipitation. There were 70% more red flag days declared in 2020 as compared to 2019. Rainfall totals in Central and Southern California were 50 to 75% below average. As you can see here on this chart, 5 of the 6 largest wildfires in California all happened in 2020, which is a sobering statistic and highlights the need for all of us to stay focused on our efforts to reduce the risks and mitigate the impacts. Next slide, please. Towards the end of last year, we had Santa Ana wind events and high risk for wildfire. So we had to implement PSPS, or public safety power shutoffs, and temporarily shut off power to prevent our electric system from becoming the source of an ignition. PSPS events impacted about 138,000 of our customers, which we know also added to the challenges with the COVID pandemic. We understand the difficulties that being without power has for people who are working from home or children who are remote learning, and for customers who have access and functional needs. And with the weather patterns experienced in 2020, the PSPS events we saw in November and December, and frankly into January, created a very different experience than what we saw in 2019. As we take a look at the 2020 events, and we work to make some significant progress in reducing the risk of wildfires, as well as reducing the impact of PSPS as part of our action plans. For this year, unfortunately, we are already in fire season, as we've seen with fire activity increasing just during the last few weeks. All of this underscores the importance of having a more resilient grid that will significantly reduce the risk of utility equipment sparking catastrophic wildfires, and the need for PSPS as a tool of last resort. And so Edison remains dedicated to keeping our community safe by making our infrastructure more resilient against the increasing threat of extreme conditions driven by climate change. Next slide, please. We've worked hard to develop a comprehensive wildfire mitigation plan, which includes hardening our infrastructure, bolstering situational awareness, and enhancing operational practices to keep our communities safe. For grid hardening, we are making improvements to make the system more resilient in high fire risk areas, improving reliability and reducing wildfire risk. We've installed over 960 circuit miles of covered conductor, over 6,000 fire-resistant poles, over 3,000 fast-acting fuses, and 49 additional devices to better segment our system and will further support reducing PSPS impacts. We are also continuing to bolster our situational awareness capabilities. We've installed over 1,050 weather stations and are continuing to install more, along with 166 high-definition cameras used for fire spotting and to monitor location-specific real-time conditions. All of this helps inform our operational decision-making. We have a team of meteorologists and a fire scientist that use these capabilities along with other tools such as our fuel sampling program, supercomputers, and fire spread modeling technology to better forecast and predict wildfires. We inspect our overhead equipment in high fire risk areas annually to identify potential safety hazards. Last year, we inspected 199,000 distribution assets and over 35,000 transmission assets. Our field crews conduct ground inspections, and we use drones and helicopters to conduct aerial inspections to obtain a 360 view of our equipment to determine whether or not maintenance, repair, or replacement is necessary. Vegetation management is also an important component of our wildfire mitigation plan. We inspect about 1.4 million trees across our service territory every year to determine if they could pose a hazard by making contact with our power lines. Last year, we assessed nearly 100,000 hazard trees and removed more than 12,000 that could fall into our power lines and lead to ignitions. This year, we plan to double that amount and assess approximately 200,000 hazard trees in high fire risk areas and remove any that are deemed to be unsafe. Over the next 2 years, we'll also be removing about 11,000 palm trees that can come in contact with our power lines and pose risk to public safety. Customers who have palm trees affected by this program will be contacted by Edison to discuss this. Public safety power shutoffs. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, we use these PSPS tools as an opportunity of last resort to protect our communities from the threat of wildfire. On the next slide, I'll discuss how decisions to implement PSPS are made. Next slide, please. For each PSPS event, we activate our PSPS incident management team led by an incident commander. This is a role that my peers and I rotate in on the duty. And the incident commander manages the event and makes decisions whether or not to shut off the power based on real-time conditions and information. We consider PSPS when weather and fire experts forecast dangerous conditions, including strong winds and very dry vegetation with low humidity. Combined, these create the risk that flying debris or other damage to our wires and equipment could cause a fire with a potential to spread rapidly. Our meteorologists and fire scientists review weather conditions using both internal and external weather models, as well as the National Weather Service forecasts, alerts, and warnings. We'll also speak with county offices of emergency management to discuss any public safety issues. We do not take the decision to shut off power lightly and ask the following before we make a decision. Is it necessary to shut off power in order to protect public safety? And can we safely reduce the number of customers who would lose power? This is just a quick summary of some of our decision points. There's much more detail on our webpage. If you visit our website at sce.com/PSPS decision making, that's one word, no capitals, PSPS decision making. You can see the details that I'm referring to. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, we take the concerns we heard about PSPS seriously and know we have to do better. We filed a PSPS action plan with the California Public Utilities Commission earlier this year that addresses 5 main areas. We look to reduce the need for PSPS, improve our execution, reduce the impacts of PSPS when events do occur, keep our customers and our partners informed, enhance our post-event reports that we file after every event. So I'll summarize these five areas and then hand it over to other presenters who can cover it a little more detail as we go through. The first area addresses reducing the need for PSPS, which means hardening the grid with the goal of reducing the scope, frequency, and duration of PSPS events, especially to help those areas where our customers have been impacted numerous times. Rob here in a second will be providing more detail shortly. While this doesn't mean that there won't be situations in which PSPS won't be needed, the frequency and duration should be significantly decreased, and you'll hear more about this in the next few slides. The second area of focus is to improve our execution of PSPS events. One of the ways we expect to do this is by providing better transparency into the decision-making process, which I shared just a few minutes ago. We also understand the issues and frustration surrounding how notifications of PSPS events are received, and we are working to make significant improvements to how our notifications that you've received before, during, and after PSPS events occur. The third area of focus is reducing the impacts of PSPS for when they do occur. We will be increasing our efforts to reduce the impact, especially on our most vulnerable customers. We'll be working to increase enrollment in our medical baseline programs and expand participation in other areas, such as our critical care battery backup program and other incentives to support providing more backup solutions. We'll also be working with local and tribal governments to look for ways to increase community resiliency by expanding our services that enhance the safety of the community overall. The fourth area of focus is to keep our partners and customers clearly and consistently informed. You can expect better ways to receive educational materials, including our website for information about PSPS. And for public safety partners, we will be leveraging technology to improve information sharing and coordination as we work together to plan and respond in a more comprehensive way. And lastly, we're working to enhance and improve our post-event reporting to make them more transparent and clear for our stakeholders. We've learned a lot in our experiences so far, and these reports go a long way in improving our performance after these events. In a nutshell, the outcomes we're expecting are to reduce the scope and frequency of PSPS, to improve our coordination and engagement with our partners and critical infrastructure customers, expand our outreach and enrollment with vulnerable customers, and improve our post-event reports. Now I'll hand it over to you, Rob, to cover the grid hardening and our efforts to reduce the need for PSPS.
Thank you, Greg. I'm here to talk about the first element of our PSPS action plan, which is the efforts to reduce the need for PSPS. To that end, we've developed a concentrated effort that we would focus primarily on what we call the frequently impacted circuits. These are circuits in our service territory that have experienced 4 or more PSPS de-energizations since 2019. This effort really is targeted on the hardest hit circuits in our system, but I'll reinforce that the general grid hardening effort, which Greg was just talking about, goes well beyond just these hardest hit circuits. I don't want to imply that we are ignoring other circuits or other circuits are being left behind, but it is appropriate to focus a concentrated effort on those areas that have experienced the most PSPS events over the last couple of years. This targeted effort is what we call expedited grid hardening. Our goal in expedited grid hardening is to achieve reductions in the number of customers impacted by PSPS events. We call that scope. We also want to reduce the frequency of PSPS events, and we want to reduce the duration of PSPS events. But we're also striving to complete this work, expedited grid hardening, in the time frame between now and October 1st of this year. This is because the fourth quarter of the year is historically when we've seen our highest PSPS impacts. We are sharing today our current plans for expedited grid hardening, but I want to note that we're continuing to invest time and effort in exploring options on how we can further reduce PSPS impacts beyond our current plans. We do understand that 2020 was a particularly difficult year for PSPS, and in some ways, although we've identified specific work plans for PSPS reduction, our efforts and these plans will continue to evolve throughout the year as we continue to explore and leverage a number of tools that should improve the customer experience. Next slide, please. Here are some of those tools that we are using to reduce the need for PSPS in our expedited grid hardening efforts. For this expedited grid hardening effort, the key factor, of course, is what tools we can use, particularly in a short time frame, to significantly improve the customer experience before the upcoming PSPS season. The first tool is replacement of bare wires with new insulated wires. Bare wires are generally open to the elements, and if things come into contact with these wires, this can create a short circuit. Short circuits can likely result in a power outage for customers on the circuit. They can also create ignitions where it ignites the debris that does come into contact with the lines, including palm fronds, tree branches, metallic balloons, other debris that can blow into these lines. Replacing bare wires with insulated wires prevents these unintentional contacts from becoming ignitions. Doing so, it allows the debris to harmlessly flow into and out of the lines without resulting in the short circuit. Now, specific to PSPS, by insulating our wires, we are able to raise our PSPS wind speed thresholds. In some cases, we can even raise those thresholds to a level where PSPS events are unlikely based on wind patterns and weather patterns in the area. I'm also going to note that insulating our wire has additional reliability benefits beyond just PSPS. Wind-related events can occur at any time throughout the year, and this can cause the power to shut off even outside of traditional fire season. So insulated wires will not only provide PSPS benefits, it will also provide benefits in reducing the frequency of non-PSPS outages as well. The second tool listed here is what we call segmentation. This was a key focus area for us last year, and we're building on that work as we go into 2021. This effort involves installing remote-controlled automated switches. These switches allow us to de-energize specific, smaller areas of concern on the circuits. The benefit to segmentation is that we can reduce the number of customers impacted by PSPS events, and in some cases, we can also reduce the duration of PSPS events that still occur. The third tool is the installation of new weather stations. It's another way we can reduce PSPS impacts, really by improving our situational awareness of on-the-ground conditions. With continuous weather data, such as wind, temperature, and humidity data, we can get more precise about weather at specific locations. And particularly when you couple that with segmentation, with automated switching, weather stations and automated switches together gives us the ability to turn the power off in smaller areas, or even in some cases avoid turning off the power altogether. The fourth tool is what we call enhanced switching protocols. Many of our circuits have connections to adjacent circuits. Now, if an adjacent circuit is not impacted by PSPS, or if it has already been hardened, then there may be opportunities to switch some customers from one circuit to that adjacent circuit for PSPS benefits. This only works if the nearby circuit is itself not affected by PSPS. But I will say, as we continue to harden more and more circuits with our overall grid hardening efforts, we expect to see more and more of what I'll call a community benefit effect. This should allow greater numbers of customers to be switched to greater numbers of adjacent circuits as we go forward. The fifth item is what we call operational protocols. We want to update these protocols for the use in PSPS. This is where, let's say, based on recent changes to the environment, certain circuits, certain portions of circuits, they can be removed from PSPS events. An example of this is if a recent fire has removed vegetation around a circuit, let's say in a burn scar area. A circuit that's traversing a burn scar area might be a likely candidate for use of one of these operational protocols. Before I move on, there's one more question I do want to address. We're frequently asked whether undergrounding is also one of the tools that we would use to reduce the need for PSPS. I do want to say that we consider undergrounding. We do consider it, and it is an option for reducing wildfire risk, and we do work hard to identify locations where undergrounding is appropriate. However, it can take much longer to construct undergrounding, let alone the increased cost, the difficulties to maintain and repair in mountainous and rocky terrains. So particularly for expedited grid hardening, the other options that we're showing, such as insulated wires, can be deployed much quicker and can make the most difference in reducing not only wildfire risk, but also reducing the need for PSPS on an expedited basis. Next slide, please. Now, before I talk specifically about our plans, I do want to quickly address two more questions that we frequently get. The first question is, why do my neighbors across the street have power and I don't? And the second question, which is related to the first, is why is my power turned off even if I live in an underground area? The answer to both of these questions really depends on the details of the circuit that feeds your home as compared to your neighbors. The picture here is intended to show or depict homes on the left side of the picture that are fed from underground wires. Now, before the wires go underground, the circuit has an overhead section that traverses over a high fire area, as shown in the elevated terrain in the far left of this picture. So these homes, even though they are served underground, can be subject to PSPS because of the overhead circuitry on the circuit. The homes across the street in this example are fed from a different circuit. Now, in this example, even though it is all overhead circuitry, it does not traverse through the same high fire area, and therefore these customers on the right themselves might not be subject to PSPS, even though their neighbors on the left side of the picture might be. Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, in the city of Chatsworth, the Energy 16 kV circuit has been identified as one of SCE's frequently impacted circuits, and therefore the energy circuit is part of our expedited grid hardening efforts. The slide shows the circuit map on the left and describes our planned expedited grid hardening work on the right. I'm going to start first by talking about the map on the left. On the left, the substation that feeds the energy circuit is the blue dot at the bottom left corner of the map. This substation happens to be named, appropriately enough, Chatsworth Substation. This circuit generally runs southwest to northeast. Now, it feeds customers along that length. Overall, there are approximately 1,800 customers, actually over 1,800 customers that are served by the energy circuit from the substation along this full length of the energy circuit. It's worth pointing out on this map that overhead portions of the circuit are in orange color and underground portions of the circuit are in green color. So this circuit is a classic example of what I was just talking about. It's a combination of overhead and underground circuitry that can impact the PSPS experience for customers, even if they are served by underground wires. Now, shifting to the right side of the slide, our expedited grid hardening plan is shown at the right, and we've added some call outs or highlights on the map at the left to illustrate. Specifically, we are removing over 15 miles of existing bare wire and replacing it with new insulated wire on an expedited basis. Now, this replacement is really along more or less the full length of the southwest to northeast backbone of this circuit. There will be more insulated wire coming even in the following year as well, but we are expediting the insulated wire installations on that southwest to northeast direction along that backbone for the expedited grid hardening plan. There's one area of the circuit that I really do want to call out. It's the lower tail. I'm not sure the right word for it. You might call it a spur. It's the portion of the circuit in the middle of the map that heads towards what the map shows as the Chatsworth Nature Preserve and Reservoir. That area of the circuit is expected to benefit from the expedited insulated wire installations upstream of that area. In our experience, the dominant winds that lead to PSPS events in this area are north of this spur. And this portion of the circuit has typically been de-energized because of the need to de-energize upstream circuit portions because of upstream circuit conditions. Therefore, our plan to expedite insulated wires on the circuit backbone is anticipated to provide benefits to the entire energy circuit, not just the areas pointed to by these arrows. Moving on from insulated wires, we're also installing a total of 3 new automated switches. Now, these are located towards the back half of the circuit. You can see them marked on the map. These switches will improve the ability for circuit segmentation, as I was talking about a few minutes ago, and the switching capability will increase because of these switches during future PSPS events. We're also planning on using a temporary generator to serve a large underground portion of the circuit, also near the back half of the circuit. This generator will help provide energy to approximately 120 customers during future PSPS events that may still occur. The automated switches that I just talked about are also going to help accommodate the use of this generator. With these mitigations in place prior to fall of 2021, and again, assuming identical weather and operating conditions as we experienced in 2020, we would have experienced a 77% reduction in the use of PSPS. Now, before I wrap this slide up, we've included a couple of photos on the slide that really do point to the unique circumstances on the energy. We're physically constructing on the energy circuit today. And these photos were hot off the presses. They were taken Monday this week, I believe. And they show a couple of views of our construction activities. The photo on the left is a picture of covered conductor being installed on the energy circuit specifically. The picture is dominated by a trailer in the foreground of the picture. It is a device that's called a tensioner, and it's used for paying out conductor when conductor is being installed. The trailer is holding a reel of covered conductor. It's colored gray, and if you look hard, you can see that gray wire rising from the trailer and up to the pole in the background. Further in the background, out of view of this particular picture, is the pulling end of the same covered conductor or insulated wire installation project. So this is ongoing insulated wire installations on the energy circuit happening today. On the right is a photo of on-site generation that we brought in to help reduce the impacts to customers during the ongoing construction process. The picture is labeled as generation, but it is interesting to note that this is not one generator, but it is a total of 14 generators. Each one is 500 kilowatts in size. So really the amount of generation here is a very large amount of generation, 7 megawatts of generation. And it's all intended to reduce the impacts of construction-related activities as much as possible. These generators are currently planned to stay on site for, I believe it's 2 to 3 weeks. I don't remember the exact dates, but for the next several weeks, these generators are going to remain on site and will help provide support to customers on the energy circuit during this particular phase of the ongoing construction project. So for overall, wrapping things up, we're working hard to expedite grid hardening activities, particularly on the energy circuit, to significantly improve the experience of customers on this circuit in the fall of 2021. The specific results for this circuit, the 77%, assume the same weather conditions as we saw last year. Of course, no one can predict the future weather this fall, and we don't know for sure if 2020 will exactly repeat itself. So I want to make that caveat. But subject to that caveat, We do expect that the energy circuit will see a significant improvement in PSPS experience as a result of these expedited grid hardening efforts. I'm now going to hand over to Mike.
Thank you, Rob. Good evening, everyone. I would like to start off by thanking you for taking the time in your busy evening to join us for this informational meeting. We also want to acknowledge that we understand PSPS events are very disruptive, so we hope the customer-related information we will be sharing will lessen some of that disruption and help our customers. First topic I will cover is how we notify and keep customers informed. If SCE determines that a PSPS event is necessary, as a last resort, due to emerging dangerous weather conditions, we notify our public safety partners, local and tribal governments, 72 hours in advance so they can prepare their plans. We then notify our customers 48 hours in advance. SCE provides alerts and notifications in a variety of languages and methods, allowing customers some flexibility to select their preferred method. Customers can choose to receive notifications through email, text, or a voice call. For anyone that does not have an SCE account, but would also like to stay informed, they can choose to sign up for what we call a zip code alert to receive alerts about a specific zip code, or customers can sign up for alerts through Nextdoor on social media. It's a social media app that also provides useful services. We heard the concerns from our customers regarding our notifications for PSPS, and we are currently working to improve them by making them more transparent and clear for customers. We are also in discussions with the County Offices of Emergency Management to explore the use of emergency radio broadcasts for areas with poor cell service. Before, during, and after events, customers will receive alerts to keep them informed along the way. So it's important to be enrolled to receive these alerts or sign up for alerts and notifications. The link to the sign up will be provided at the end of the presentation, and as I get there, the final slide will have a lot of information on it. One of the things I do want to point out, and I think we've mentioned it already, is SCE.com has a lot of very useful information about programs, services, and specific PSPS activities as well. And I would encourage all our customers on this live stream to take a look at SCE.com as well. As I mentioned, in addition to alerts, we have a dedicated PSPS webpage on SCE.com where you can receive helpful information, such as weather conditions, and a map where you can enter your address to receive outage status information to determine if a location is under consideration, de-energized, or not impacted by PSPS. The map page will also provide the nearest location of a SCE Community Resource Center, which I will speak more about in the next slide. Before I go, if we can go to the next slide, please. One of the things I do want to encourage, I meant to do it when I started. If you do have questions, please put those in the chat, and we will address those questions as they're asked. So I just want to remind everybody that the chat is open for questions. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about our customer care programs. While it is important to provide our customers with notification during PSPS events, we also provide a variety of customer care programs to reduce the impact of PSPS. SCE offers a variety of rebates and programs to help prepare for resiliency and services during outages. For our most vulnerable customers, we offer fully subsidized critical care backup battery programs. This program provides a free battery and solar charging panel that will help our customers that rely on an electrically powered medical device enrolled in our medical baseline program, residing in a high fire risk area, and enrolled in one of our income qualified discount programs. To check if you reside in a high fire risk area, you can go to the California Public Utility Commission's website. And again, there's a link provided at the end of the presentation. We do want our customers to know that SCE is reaching out to all eligible income qualified customers to make sure they are aware of this program. We also have 2 rebate and incentive programs to help offset the cost of investing in resiliency. We offer a $50 rebate for a portable battery to power devices such as a modem and router, allows you to have ongoing internet access, charging your cell phone, charging a laptop or an iPad, and even some larger appliances can be used as well. For customers that are dependent on pumping water for everyday home and small business needs, we also offer portable generator rebates. The higher rebate amount of $500 is for income qualified customers, and those are customers that are typically on our income qualified rates of CARE and FARA, and also residing in higher fire risk areas. For customers that are interested in a whole house battery system, SCE Self-Generation Incentive Program, or some may have heard of it as SCHIP, has been enhanced with higher incentives and a 50% upfront payment for qualifying customers that reside in a Tier 2 or Tier 3 high fire risk area, or customers who have experienced 2 or more PSPS events and meet income qualified or medical device qualifications. Now, again, I'm going through a lot of details here. As we'll show at the end of my presentation, there is some websites that will provide details on this. And again, I want to encourage you, take notes here, but the website will be able to provide you really what you need. To explore the batteries and generators available for our rebates, again, we have a website. We also have an online marketplace, and that's available for customers to kind of go in and see what is available in the market. For local care during PSPS outages, we activate what are called community resource centers, or we call them CRCs, in or near impacted communities by partnering with local community groups, local community areas. We also have the option of deploying our community crew vehicle to locations where a community resource center might not be available. On-site services are provided by trained SCE staff, and they include providing resiliency kits, which include small resiliency items such as solar-powered phone chargers, personal protective equipment such as gloves and hand sanitizers, a voucher to get ice to keep perishables cold, along with many cases light snacks and water. We also provide information about PSPS events and customer programs, a lot of what we're providing here tonight, and assistance with signing up for notification. And depending on social distancing safety, we provide on-site mobile phone charging as well. I do want to let you know that we also offer hotel discounts with participating hotels. These are available during events. We also post the locations of activated community resource centers or community crew vehicles on our website. And we also communicate locations with our public safety partners and through online social media, so they can also educate customers on where they can get these valuable resources. We are happy to let everyone know that we are piloting a resiliency zone concept designed to provide temporary power to a subset of essential services such as gas stations, markets, or police or fire stations. SCE will identify and retrofit rural communities so selected sites can remain energized during a PSPS event by using backup generation deployed by Edison. SCE is also partnering with many different local and statewide public safety partners so that we are aligned and collaborating where possible during PSPS events and other related events. As we turn to the next slide, we will share a recent partnership that we are proud to let everybody know about. Next slide, please. The intensity of wildfires have put pressure on our state's firefighting resources. Firefighting agencies, including the LA County Fire Department, as well as the Orange County Fire Authority and the Ventura County Fire Department, in partnership with SCE, are expanding its capabilities to combat California wildfire threat. SCE is contributing nearly $18 million this year to lease 3 helitankers, just like the one shown here on the slide, with unique water and fire retardant dropping capabilities to help provide both day and important nighttime fire suppression support across SCE's 50,000 square mile service area. I think I speak for all Edison employees when I say it's an honor for SCE to work with our frontline fire agency partners and support the readiness and response efforts of our fire agencies. We go to the next slide, please. We are making every effort to educate our customers and communities through various channels and forums such as the one we're having this evening. These meetings are an opportunity for SCE to share what we are doing to protect public safety and reduce the impact of PSPS. But equally important, we want to hear from you on what's working and what's not. Is this information about products and services we are providing helpful? How can we enhance them to be more helpful? I encourage you to share your thoughts in the chat. In addition to community forums, SCE has an annual campaign that includes a variety of channels to reach customers to help them be prepared for emergencies and PSPS events, such as the use of social media, digital ads, radio, and partnerships with community-based organizations. We recently mailed a newsletter to all customers to provide preparedness information about our programs and services, which includes programs to help our most vulnerable customers. We are focused on ensuring our most vulnerable customers are aware and prepared. We have actively taken steps to identify those customers that may be reliant on electrically powered medical device, or those that are temperature sensitive that require heating or cooling, certain degrees of heating or cooling. We also take extra precaution with our most critical care customers. When we cannot confirm that notifications have been received by our critical care customers, we send a representative to their home to notify them in person and make sure they have an emergency plan. We also work closely with local and tribal governments, public safety partners, and essential service providers such as telecom providers and water agencies to help them prepare for PSPS events by having meetings ahead of time and with them and collaborating during events. We go to the next slide, please. As I mentioned, this is really where all of the links are and the key information that you can find online. One of the things we want to point out is, here are some actions that you can take to be prepared. As I mentioned, we have a website, se.com/wildfire, that has all the information and resources related to wildfire and PSPS and all the information we presented here tonight. If you have questions, you can contact us by email, social media, or by phone. You will also be getting a survey after this meeting. Please provide feedback, which will help us shape the services and support we provide going forward. As I mentioned earlier, please sign up or verify that you are signed up for PSPS alerts and notifications, and update your contact information as needed. Please also review all the program and services that SCE provides, especially, and I can't emphasize this enough, if you are dependent on electrically powered medical equipment. You may be eligible for SCE's medical baseline program and the critical care battery backup program. And we certainly want to get all eligible customers enrolled and activated in using those programs. Again, additional rebates and incentives are also available, so make sure you check the website. Last but not least, really be prepared. An emergency can happen at any time. You can help your family be prepared with a safety preparedness plans, some basic supplies, and advanced planning. Whether a pandemic, an earthquake, or a wildfire, preparedness and having a plan is a must, and it will help everyone cope better and stay safer. That concludes our formal presentation. With that, I will turn it over to Dave to start the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. As we mentioned earlier in the program, we asked that you would post your questions in the chat, and we'll be able to answer those questions as we receive them. Prior to the start of this meeting, we had gotten a question regarding solar installations and programs. And the question was about the delay of the timing of getting into the program and energizing your system. And Mike, if you wouldn't mind answering that question and providing a response.
Sure. I have been involved with the solar programs over the years, and my understanding is, we spent a lot of time improving those processes. And at one point, we had down to about 5 days or so for the review and process and interconnection. In this particular case, what would be really helpful is if we could get some customer information and we can have someone look into it and respond directly back to our customer on the impacts there, because my understanding is again, we have a fairly quick turnaround on those instances. I'm sure that something may have fallen through the cracks with this particular customer, but we want to get back to them as soon as possible and see if we can get it resolved. So if we can just get some detailed customer information on, and maybe the customer can send us an email, we'll follow up directly with and make sure we have someone in our customer service organization follow up directly.
Okay, thank you. The question I see over here in the chat is regarding an outage last weekend in Chatsworth. It says 20 texts, 10 emails, and 2 letters notified us of a 3-year power shutoff last Saturday. Was that purpose was to improve the system during the shutoff? I'm going to refer to Mr. Greg Free on that question.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And Michael, thank you for your question. Sorry for the inconvenience. I think there's 2 questions here. One has to do with notifications, and I'm going to toss that back to Edison's Mike to talk about what might have gone on there. And I'll talk a little bit about the outage itself. It's my understanding that on Saturday, we had crews out actually connecting the utility scale generators that Rob showed pictures of earlier. And the intent there is we have to turn the power off to connect those, and we want to connect them before there's an event so that it reduces the duration that our customers experience an outage in the actual event. So that's what was the intent for Saturday's outage. I understand we incurred some difficulties, and there was also an outage on Sunday for the same purpose. But that's what's happening there is we have to have a brief outage, maybe a couple of brief outages in order to connect those utility scale generators so that in the event we have PSPS events this summer or fall, we can minimize the impact of those events. Mike, do you mind talking a little bit about what the snafu may have occurred that caused the multiple notifications that were described here?
Greg, I'd be happy to. One of the things that Southern California has embarked on a couple of weeks ago is to better serve our customers, we upgraded our core system that we use to manage our customer service information, billing, those type of operations. We replaced a software platform in doing so, and we have seen some issues. They have been relatively minor, but and I won't downplay the fact that the number of notifications is not relatively minor. We certainly don't want to over notify our customers. One of the things that we did encounter was there were some technical issues with some automated maintenance outage notifications, and this included texts and emails. We think we have it fixed, but in this case, we may not have had it fixed for this customer last week. They were related to automated, again, maintenance and repair outages. Right now, what we've done is we are pausing any automated repair outage notifications and doing a lot of reviews on maintenance outage notifications as well. We are hopeful that we have repaired and solved the problem within our new system, and it's interconnected systems that are kind of attached to the new platform. But I appreciate this customer bringing it to our attention. I believe your name is Mike as well. We are sorry that it happened. We are making the necessary adjustments, and we look forward to having a better process moving forward. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. We do have some information. I'm going to ask the team to look into that as well and see if it was related to this or if it was a separate issue that we need to take a closer look at.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Greg. We encourage all participants to, if you have a question that was not addressed here tonight, that you send an email to this address at wildfireoutreach@sce.com. That's wildfireoutreach@sce.com. We don't have any additional questions in the chat. So at this time, I'd like to thank everyone for your participation this evening. As mentioned earlier, you will be receiving a survey to provide us feedback. In addition, this meeting has been recorded. We will post a recording on our website in a few days at sce.com/wildfire, as well as other information and resources. Thank you again and have a wonderful evening.